Welcome to my honest opinion.
Roast.
You can fuck the rest because I ain't got time for it. Really. Welcome back to another episode of My Honest Opinion. You're listening to the voice of the comedian, Semi-Cedar.
Let's go.
Now, did you all guys see the fight on Saturday night?
Yes.
Between Daniel Dubois and Fabio Wardley? Yeah, there's a British heavyweight dust-up, and for me, it was one of the best heavyweight fights I've seen in my life. You know, especially between two British guys. You know what I mean? It was absolutely craziness going on in that ring. Like, I'm talking about fucking maximum carnage. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, from start to finish. You know, it's two guys in the ring giving it their all. You know what I mean? Everything got left in that ring, man. Do you know what I mean? From these two guys. And I just want to give them, their flowers, man. You know, and say thank you for giving us such a beautiful fight. Do you know what I mean? And, yeah, what a fight, man. What a fight. You know, and I knew it was going to be like that. I was so looking forward to this fight. For about a month straight, I kept talking about it. I can't wait for this fight. I can't wait for this fight. I can't wait for this fight. Watching every build-up on social media. As soon as I see a press conference with Fabio, I'm straight in there. As soon as I see a press conference with Daniel Dubois, I'm straight in there. You know what I mean? And I was following it all the way. And then fight night came and it just fucking delivered, man. It's such a fucking beautiful fight, and it just represented boxing in the right way. In the right way, you know. Fabio took a hell of a beating. A fucking hell of a beating. He took a horrific beating in that ring on Saturday night, man. He did, you know. But even still, at the end of the fight, you know, they both hug each other. And I just think, man, what a great sportsman Daniel Dubois is, you know, going up to Fabio Wardley at the end of the fight and then giving him a hug and saying, brother, I appreciate you. Do you know what I mean? Like, and, you know, we have to appreciate these two guys, and we have to appreciate Fabio Wardley, who was previously world champion and decided to take the Daniel Dubois fight. When he could have fought any kind of guy and just had a tune-up fight. He could have fought a no-name, had a quick tune-up fight, or maybe two. You know what I mean? And then pick someone who's mandatory, which means basically someone that the board of boxing say he has to fight, who's maybe ranked top 10 or whatever. But he could have took a couple of tuna fish before that. But what did he do? What did he do? He picked Daniel Dubois as his defence, his first defence, just to give the public a fight that they want to see. I got to take my hat off to him. He's fucking brilliant for Fabio Wardley, man. I'm telling you, we owe him, you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, he said from his own mouth, I picked this fight because I knew the fans would want to see it. I didn't see Tyson Fury doing that when he had the belts. I didn't. I saw him picking fights that the fans don't want to see. The complete opposite. Like you're fighting Derek Chisora for the third time when you battered him twice in a row before that. Saying, oh, yeah, this is going to be a brilliant fight. The people want to see it for the third time. No, they don't. You battered him twice before. We do not want to see you batter him again. It just, you know. So, yeah, and just a load of ducking and running when Fury was in, when Fury had the belts. Do you know what I mean? And whatnot. Not Fabio, man. Not Fabio. First fight. He says, right. First fight, I'm going to take the hardest fight of my life. Hardest fight I've ever been in is going to be my first defence. Why? Because I want to prove to myself I'm not a coward. And I know it's a fight the public want to see. Yo, man, we got to give him his flowers, man. You know, and he gave himself, he gave a good account of himself as well. He did. In the first round, he knocked Daniel Dubois down within 11 seconds. Do you know what I mean? Shocked the whole fucking stadium. 18,000 people. Stadium jam-packed. 18,000 people and all that. You know, the bar's been knocked down already. The thing was called Don't Blink. And trust me, that was the right name for it. As soon as you blink, open your eyes, the bar's on the floor. And Fabio standing over him like, come on then, like, yo, fuck about, you know, the fight was dread, yeah? Shout out to Daniel Dubois, I got to rate him, jumped up, showed everyone he's not a quitter. Yes, he did. Jumped up and then started working his jab, started using the basic boxing fundamentals, which Fabio doesn't have, unfortunately, coming from a white collar boxing background, you know, and Daniel Dubois has the basic fundamentals because he lived and breathed boxing from 9 years old, probably even before that. Dad put him into boxing. Do you know what I mean? And what is he, 28 now? Do you know what I'm saying? And, you know, boxing's all he's ever known. So for him to work the basics, it was basic for him. All he had to do was focus. Do you know what I mean? And he came through, you know, with the Dennis Brown. You see the ring walk? Yeah, man's playing Dennis Brown, you know, the war. Killing it where, yeah, came through the Dennis Brown and fully focused still. I can't, Jims. He was on it. He was on it. I'd say like the last week on the build up to the fight, I saw a different kind of fire in Daniel Dubois' eyes still. Like, yeah, he was just ready to fight in it. You know what I mean? And yeah, so he got knocked down in the first round by Wardley, you know, and then he got up second round, started working his jab, you know what I mean, rear tear, and the jab was working for him. Third round comes, Wardley knocks him down again. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's like, raw, this could be actually over by the fourth, fifth round. Just as like a lot of people were saying, you know, a lot of pundits and, you know, ex-boxers and Rare Tear was saying on the build-up to the fight, this ain't going to last long, you know, and yeah, so Wardley knocks him down again in the third round, and you think, you know what, this could be over. This could be over by the fifth round. Well, what do you know? Daniel Dubois goes down on one knee, takes a breather, hops back up, starts working the jab again, you know, It's working for him, you know, and in this moment, Fabio Wardley is basically just trying to catch him with this right hand, thinking that I've already caught him twice. Now, maybe it was a blessing and a curse, you know what I mean? The first knockdown that Fabio Wardley gave to Daniel Dubois. Do you know what I mean? That first knockdown was a bit of a blessing and a curse, because what it done is it made Fabio a little bit overconfident, thinking, you know what, I'm going to catch him. And he kept throwing this overhand right. Do you know what I mean? And to his detriment, where he couldn't change things up, it went against him in the end, you know what I mean? Because he became predictable after a while. Daniel Dubois was like, okay, he's just throwing this right hand over right hand all the time. He's just trying to land this bomb all the time. He just move out of the way and just hit him with the jab, You know, every time he throws, I'm just going to hit him with the jab. You know what I mean? And trust me, that jab is like a blunt object. It's like a brick hitting you in your face. Do you know what I mean? Like, honestly, I'd rather run into a lamppost than fight Daniel Dubois, because that is the kind of damage you're going to receive from this jab. You know, by like the fourth, fifth round, you're going to be looking like you ran into a brick wall. You know, horrible damage, man. And Fabio Wardley took to the facial area, man. Horrible damage. Nose was all busted up. And Fab's got a problem with his nose already, like, you know what I mean? Like the scar tissue is very, very weak on the bridge of his nose. And I noticed that from the first Frazier-Clark fight that he had, you know, when he fought Frazier the first time round. And Frazier done some damage to his face there, man, in the first fight. You know, and yeah, I think from there, like, I've always noticed that his nose is just easy to bust, because, you know, it split open in that fight, and then the scar tissue. So like, once you give it a few jabs, man, it just opens up, man. He's got a problem with that. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think it's fixable. That's the thing. Do you know what I mean? But he's learnt to soldier on. Do you get me with this problem? And, you know, he does soldier on. Oh, Fabio, man, he fucking does, man. The way he stayed in that fight, you know, and under the punishment that he was receiving from Daniel Dubois, because I'd say after the seventh round, he wasn't really hitting Daniel with anything. He was just receiving bird punishment, man. Do you know what I mean? And it went on for 11 rounds, you know, and I say, like, from the 8th round to the 11th, it was just all Daniel Dubois slaughtering this man, to be honest. You know what I mean? Yeah, skinning this cat in the ring, man. And it was horrible to watch. I'm not going to lie, after a while. Because Fabio is my favourite heavyweight. Oh, man, it was horrible to watch, man. You know, it was like watching shit through your fingers, kind of. season, man. It was that kind of season. Do you know what I mean? Horrible, man. Horrible damage he took to his face there, man, from Daniel Dubois. Because Daniel's a brute. He's a brute. And a switched on Daniel's a dangerous Daniel. Do you know what I mean? When he switched on in his focus, man, there ain't a lot of people that can beat him. Not a lot of people that can handle him. And he came in at a career heaviest as well. So he came in at the heaviest he's ever been in his career. And he leaned on Fabio, man. Really leaned on him, I clocked that from the second, third round. He was just leaning on him, pressing on him, leaning on him, pressing on him. It was making him weak. Even, I think it was in the second round, he's even tackled Fabio to the floor at one stage. He didn't do it deliberately. It's just something that happened in the heat of the moment. But that made Fabio weak. Do you know what I mean? Because it was like a wrestling tackle from the waistline, and they both fell on the floor. And it was serious shit in there, man. It wasn't like a pretty fight, man. It was a slugfest. Do you know what I mean? Where it was bang for bang. Do you know what I mean? Blow for blow. And it was crazy. It was crazy, man. Best heavyweight fight I've seen in a very, 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 very long time. I'm 43 and I've got to say it's probably the best heavyweight fight I've seen since the 90s. Since something like Mike Tyson versus Evander Holyfield first fight. Because that gave me the same kind of energy and the same kind of, feeling like, like the thrill of the fight. Do you know what I mean? And you got goosebumps and you're sweating from the palms and your heart's racing, because your favorite fighters are in there. And, it's two proper fighters as well. Like, it's two pedigree, two top 10. And you're just, yeah, man, trust me. If you're a proper boxing fan, you know what I'm talking about. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Beautiful to watch, man. And it really, really was a poster for boxing, that fight. And it says to me that right now, the British boxing industry is flourishing at the minute. It really is. It really is, man. And it deserves its flowers, man. Do you know what I mean? Because when America was flourishing in the 90s, the 80s, the 70s, we had to sit back and watch and give them their flowers. Do you know what I mean? And giving us our flowers with boxing is something that they've never really liked to do, because we don't fight as pretty as them, and maybe they see themselves as more skillful than our boxers and stuff. But one thing British boxers will give you is action, all action. Do you know what I mean? And we've seen it before. If you're old enough like myself, we've seen it from the first Eubanks and Ben fight in the 90s. Do you know what I mean? And similar fights like that, Lennox Lewis, Frank Bruno, So, yeah, we've seen it before in the past, man. And it was something like that. Do you know what I mean? So hats off to both men, and I think Fabio gave a beautiful account of himself. And I know he'll probably be down and he'll probably be feeling a little bit sorry for himself. But what he's got to realise is he fucking done well. He done well, man. He won as well on the night. Do you know what I mean? But the only thing is, I feel like he could have been pulled out. He could have been pulled out by the 8th, 9th round for me. I'm not going to go into it too much more than that, to be real. But, I'm not going to blame his trainer either. Because at the end of the day, the trainer made a mistake leaving him in there for the time that he did, Ben Davidson. He made a mistake. And you know what? He's human. So he's not exempt from making mistakes. He's not. He made a mistake. And how I think he made a mistake was just like the high profile of the fight would have had him a certain way, and then the shock, value of the fight, and just lots of different things going through this man's head as he's watching his fight in there. And then knowing that Fabio is a man that can do it in the business ends of the fight. He can. He'll knock your ass out right in the end. You know what I mean? Last 10 seconds in the 12th, boom. And Fabio does it. He's that guy. So we've seen him do it against Justice Huni. And we see him batter Joseph Parker to the point the referee had to step in. So, and we saw what he done to Frazier Clark in the second fight. So it's like, this is a guy that can end people's careers. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, they was obviously trying to give him the opportunity to do that as well. And what we have to remember is he wasn't an underdog in that fight. He went into the fight as the world champion. So, you're not just going to pull him out with that kind of status. You understand? You're going to give him as much opportunity as you can to win the fight, to retain his belt, to keep his belt, do you know what I mean, and defend his title. You know what I mean? So it's like, there's a lot of factors at play, man. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, on a real, it is a collective effort from the referee and the cornermen to get Fabio Wardley the assistance that he needs and get him out of there. You know what I mean? It was a collective. And yes, it is on the corner first because it's their fighter. So it's on them before the referee to say, yo, this is enough, man. Do you know what I mean? Because the flip side of the coin is those fighters that he fought before and that he knocked out in the last business ends of the fight, the back ends of the fight, Justice Huni and the stoppage with Joseph Parker, none of them are as dangerous as Daniel Dubois, and this is what they didn't assess. Do you know what I mean? Daniel Dubois is a different animal, and we saw that from the damage that Fabio was taking in that fight. So it was definitely on Ben Davison and the team to throw the towel in and say, yo, or to sit Fabio down when the bell went in the ninth or whatever and say, yo, Fabs, it's done, bro. It's done, man. It's enough, man. Do you know what I mean? And I couldn't see Fabio saying, no, it's not enough, I want more. I couldn't. All I would have seen him saying is, okay. You know what I mean? And then that would have been it. You know, yeah, it's what I said before, man. They thought he had a chance at the end of the day, and they're only human. Do you know what I mean? So they made a big mistake. But nevertheless, they made a mistake. You know, mistakes are made for you to learn from them and gain experience. You know, in order for somebody to gain experience, they have to make mistakes and they have to learn from it. You know what I mean? It's no good my next door neighbour making a mistake and me trying to learn from that or whatever. I could, but it would help me more if I made it. And then I learned from my own mistake. So it's like Ben Davison has to learn from that mistake. It was a big mistake leaving Fabio in there for that long and letting him take unnecessary punishment they didn't need to take. Big mistake. But you know what? Nevertheless, it was a mistake. You know, so hopefully he can learn from that. Because I like Ben Davison. I think he's a brilliant trainer. And, you know, up until the Dubois fight, Fabio won every single fight under him. So I think he needs his respect. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, Saturday night he made a big mistake. He didn't assess the opponent properly enough. And it's like, yeah, Fabio paid the price for it, man. He really did. You know, but yeah, I hope Fabio heals quickly, and I wish him a speedy recovery and everything like that. And I hope that he comes back somewhat the same as he was before the fight. You know what I mean? I really do, and I think he will because he's a strong guy. He's a warrior. He's a gladiator. That man has been put here by God. You know what I mean? God's taking care of Fabio. That's the truth. So I feel like he'll be back, and you know he might be back, and he might be more dangerous than ever before because he's not going to want to take that kind of punishment in a fight again if he's smart. Do you know what I mean? Because he can't take too much of that kind of punishment before A, say I've had enough and leave the game, or B, it does something to you in order for you to that makes you have to leave the game. Where, all right, it's compulsory now, Carl. I'm cabbaged off or whatever, you know, which I would hate to see. So he's got to work on some things, though, man, as well. He really does. He's got to work on his defence a bit more and his footwork a bit more and things of that nature, man. He's really got to get stuck in. Do you know what I mean? It's tough, though. It's tough because he only picked up boxing when he was 20 and now he's 31. Do you know what I mean? It's like a 10, 11-year span, which is, yeah, it's tough at those late ages. You know what I mean? To pick up the fundamentals and whatnot. But if he wants to carry on, he's got to try his best to pick them up because, seriously, man, there's some basic fundamentals that he's lacking and it cost him big time. Do you know what I mean? And I don't think he can take too much more punishment like that in fights before it does some major everlasting damage to him, you know what I mean? And I'd hate to see that as him being one of my favourite fighters, if not my favourite fighter at the moment, do you know what I mean? So, yeah, man, hats off to him, hats off to Daniel Dubois, do you know what I mean? 2-time heavyweight champion of the world right now, and you know what? Yeah, man, boxing's in a good place right now. It really is. Anyway, I'm going to leave it on that note. Frank Warren as well, the godfather of boxing. You know what I mean? Big up your chest all day, every day. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's got these fights coming through. You know what I'm saying? The best fight, the best. And we're spoilt as boxing fans right now. We really are. It's your boy Semi Cedar. Like, comments, and subscribe to the channel. You know what I mean? If you're new, God bless you all. Take care. Peace.